Welcome to the Elevate podcast, brought to you by the Registered Master Builders. Each week we explore the ideas and practices that help us get the best from our businesses, our teams and ourselves. We talk to experts, advocates and business owners in the construction industry to share their knowledge, insights and experiences to help you build a better business and enjoy a better life. Now let the business building begin. Ankit, so great to have you again on Chiefs Chat, Master Builders podcast, Elevate podcast. Wonderful to have you here. Seems like there are a couple of topics that we have been talking about for a long time. We've been talking about consents, we've been talking about liability. Understand there's been some quite significant changes in this zone in recent weeks. Could you give us some oversight and some insight?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ryan. Great to have a conversation again. So some of these reforms are going to the heart of two big issues our industry is facing: delays in consenting and unfair liability rules. So having consistency and common standards is important around consenting because they can then reduce costs, improve consistency and speed of approval. So we think this reform will make a really positive impact for the industry. On liability front, councils have become the last person standing under the current system, carrying most of the risk when something goes wrong. And any system, you want system to be fair and you want system to be reasonable. And the way our current system is, by councils having an unfair burden, makes them overly cautious and understandably so. So moving to a proportional liability, we believe is a fair model, provided it comes with stronger consumer protections like home warranties and proper insurance. But at the heart of all of this is about delivering more homes faster at better value for Kiwi families while still protecting homeowners.
Okay. Ankit, are you able to break that down into what it might look like in reality for our members? Are there any examples you might be able to provide? Like if I am a construction company that tends to build a particular floor plan very regularly, from a consenting perspective, am I going to be able to just get it approved once and then go forth? What might that look like?
It's a great question. So there are two things the government is talking about. So one is around BCA consolidation. So we have 67 different building consenting authorities. A lot of them have different systems. So when you introduce a new standard, sometimes it's not even a new standard. You can easily have many different interpretations. So the challenge for a lot of builders, including master builders, is a lot of builders deal with multiple BCAs, and then it creates inconsistencies, delays, and frustrations. You could be building the same home 2 kilometers apart, and you can have completely different interpretation, and you're doing different things to your testing, which then can have challenge around your build times and costs. So another challenge we've had is when then changes are introduced in a system like this, it then creates more confusion, cost, and delays. An example of this was the rollout of H1. So it highlighted that we needed more adequate implementation period for the industry to adjust, upscale, and scale. So one thing is around how do we get more consistency across our building consenting authorities. Also, when you have 67 BCAs for a country of 5 million people, there's just too many. So in some cases, they don't have the scale. So BCA consolidation, we believe, will bring consistency and it'll bring capability. So you'll get scale. So we think that'll improve overall the consenting process. The second point, which I think you highlighted briefly, that's looking at a risk-based consenting. So because we currently have a one-size-fits-all approach, and I almost call a zero-risk approach, because within the current joint and several liability, if something goes wrong, in a lot of cases, councils are the last people standing dealing with that risk. So rightly, councils are protecting their investments and the ratepayers by taking a much more risk-averse approach. So what that means is you could be building a simple, low-risk home, which is probably built by a builder who's got a significant track record. We will treat that today same way as we might be consenting for a complex projects or a builder who doesn't have a track record. So what we have been working with the government and advocating for is a risk-based consenting system, which says if something is a low risk project, which is the example you took, if it's the same design, you're repeating it multiple times, builder has a good track record, they're backed by insurance, so it's a low risk setup, then we do less inspections. And if it's high risk projects, then you do more inspections. What that means is you put less resources on things which are less risky. That frees up resources to focus on projects which are high risk. What that will do is it will improve productivity, it will drive performance, and I think it will lift industry standards. So these two changes, if they come through, we believe will drive productivity. It will make things cheaper and faster, but also have very strong focus on quality. So we continue to deliver good quality homes.
Okay. The initiatives sound fantastic. Has the government given any indication of timeline yet?
Timelines are, so the government has to work through government cycles. So they've come out and they've talked about some of these changes. Then they have to go and legislate the changes. Before that, the government is doing the right thing. They are doing deep consultation and getting feedback from all the stakeholders, organizations like ourselves, from industry, from local council. So I think these changes will start coming through in the next 6 to 12 months.
Okay. Sounds like a reasonable timeline given the scale of what needs to be done. When you talk about the number of BCAs that are in play, is there a number that's being targeted that are trying to consolidate down to a certain number, or is it just that the way rules and consenting is applied will be more uniform across all of those BCAs?
So the government, I think, is favoring a voluntary consolidation. So they are saying, well, we would like BCAs to consolidate. A lot of BCAs have indicated that they would like to consolidate. So we don't know what number we'll end up with, but any reduction in number is better than where we are today. So I think that's one. Another one we are saying is, along with BCA consolidation, maybe we should have more consistency. Let's have common standards. Let's have common system. So if we can do both of those together, and let's start using more technology, like for remote consenting. So if we do combination of those together, that should start driving more productivity within the sector.
I feel like it's a shout out. Congratulations at this point. I know master builders, Ankit, yourself, and predecessors have put so much time and effort into advocating for this. We're not there yet, but it feels like a step in the right direction. So well done to you and your team for getting us to this point. I understand there's also been an announcement around pathways for overseas building products to be utilized more. Can you give us some insight on that one?
Well, I think pathways for the overseas product announcement is a significant step in the right direction. So by allowing overseas products that meet our standards, we can improve competition, we'll improve supply chain resilience, we'll also reduce delays and costs. And I believe it will make our industry more competitive and resilient, and ultimately will drive better outcomes for homeowners. We also want an industry which is innovative and productive. So there's a lot of innovation happening globally in building and construction sector around productivity, efficiency, things like prefabrication, on-site manufacturing, new materials, resilience, sustainability. So this will open our doors to global products and innovation, which ultimately will drive better outcomes for homeowners across New Zealand. So I think is a step in the right direction. What we need to do is have a mechanism through which we can give assurance to the industry and to the homeowners that these products which are coming in are at comparable, equivalent, or a better standard. So that's what government is working on. So they're looking at countries where their standards of building is similar or better than ours. And by doing that, I think we are looking to bring more competition, better products, and also making sure we don't miss out on all this innovation which is happening overseas. It will improve supply chain resilience. I think over time, it will probably reduce the cost of materials. It'll be good for our industry.
And it wasn't that long ago we were in the COVID zone, and that supply chain resiliency, I think what we identified as there wasn't much resiliency at all. And we're certainly not wishing for a repeat of that set of circumstances or environment, but getting ahead of the game and bringing in lower total costs, more affordability, but we're keeping our standards in place sounds like a great idea. Ankit, as well as being out there talking to government, I'm sure you're also connected with your team and hearing feedback from the members. I'm interested in your thoughts around how these couple of initiatives that we've just talked about fit into the bigger picture, and then maybe what are you seeing around potential, the interest rate movements, What are you hearing on the ground from our members in the community?
I'll answer them in two different ways. So what we are seeing on the ground is a two-speed recovery. So the regional New Zealand is showing really good signs of recovery. So we are seeing that across the country. The urban centers like Auckland, Wellington are still struggling, and we think it'll probably be another 6 to 12 months before we start seeing recovery in these sectors. So we think, based on information we are seeing, talking to our members and the data we get access to through our guarantees and other data, the recovery has started, and we are seeing that flowing through our numbers. That's very positive for our industry. So what that means is, for a building business, we may be just out of probably one of the tough periods. So this is a time to start looking at growth. Challenge for us is, historically, when the growth has come, in some instances, the growth has come too quickly. And then the consequence of that is we grow unsustainably as an industry. Then that creates challenges when the growth kind of tapers off. So what we need to do is make sure when this growth comes, which we are seeing, it's building, and we expect 2026 to be quite a significantly better year than 2025. We need to grow sustainably as a sector. So we need to make sure every job stands on its own feet, make sure when we are bringing people in, we are looking at costs, we are running good, stable, I call it mature businesses. I can see in some regions we have challenges around labor shortages. So you could see that. So, as any smart business, when you go in through significant downturn, you take your cost out. You want to make sure you are sustainable and you ride through that. So a lot of our members, a lot of building and construction businesses have done that. But when the growth comes, we now need to bring that workforce back in. So we need to start thinking about, how do we train people? How do we hold on to our existing people? So I think that workforce challenge would be an interesting challenge. There are different views around when some inflationary pressures will start coming back into our economy. I think either late 2026 or early 2027, we might start seeing some sign of inflation coming back. So just need to be mindful of that. So when you're looking at projects, how you're costing your projects, keeping that in mind. Of course, for our members, we'll keep sharing some of that information. So on an economy front, we probably are out of the worst of the cycle, hopefully getting into the next cycle. I'm hoping it's not a boom cycle. It's a steady growth, sustainable cycle, and we'll know in the next 12 months where we'll end up. So it's probably really good signs. On general macro trend, where do we need to go from building and construction sector? So I think we need to find a way to build quality homes in New Zealand better, faster, and more affordably. To do that, we need a system which is incentivizing good performance, and I've just talked about that. We need to reduce duplication and inconsistency. And the biggest challenge for our industry is to improve productivity, which is a significant challenge. And some of the work the government is doing around BCA consolidation, bringing overseas project, risk-based consenting will help. We also need to, as businesses, start thinking about, how do we become more productive? And in our Constructive conference, we have a couple of really big announcements on this. But one other thing I want all businesses to think about is generative AI is coming in and changing and evolving at a rate where even industry veterans in technology sector are getting surprised by it. So businesses who would not look at things like AI to drive productivity in their back office, how they communicate with customers, how they price their jobs, are likely to get left behind. So businesses need to start thinking about, there's a wave of productivity which is coming. I got the first wave of productivity, which is around back office improvements using generative AI, how to use some of those technologies, and we'll focus on that quite deeply in our Constructive conference in 2 weeks' time, around how they go and plot that journey. There's a second wave for productivity which is coming up from generative AI, which is around robotics. So there will be a time AI will enable using simple tasks, which are repeatable tasks, which don't require huge skills. There will be some sort of automation which will start happening. So I think that is something we need to keep an eye out as an industry. So government is doing a really good job taking feedback from the industry to take the red tape. We also, as an industry, need to future-proof to make sure we got the right skills. We got the people coming in who are digitally enabled. We are using more technology in our business, and we're prepared for this wave. So if we can get that right, I think hopefully when the next downturn comes, we as an industry have got more productivity behind us. The impact of the downturn softens as a consequence of that.
Great insights, Ankit, and maybe sharing my insight on this today. I was just running a how to build a custom GPT AI in for some business owners, not super technical people, not in the tech sector, and was able to show them how literally in an hour they could learn how to build a really, really helpful, productivity increasing tool for $20 a month, and just mind blowing. So would certainly encourage our members not to block AI as some kind of, hey, that's only what super technical people can use, or you've got to be under 20 to know what to do with AI. Some of these tools now are just incredibly easy to use and deploy, and they absolutely game changers for the environment. So keep an open mind, people, and embrace it. I think it's a good way to go.
And I'll just to add on that. And if you're not sure, come to the Constructive conference. There's some very exciting announcement around AI, but we are running specific sessions to help businesses work through as a building business. How do you kind of go through that journey of AI and some case studies of what other businesses are doing? So you'll actually walk away with some really good tools and knowledge which you can go back and apply in your business.
Great idea. So Constructive, it is in Auckland this year, 11, 12 September. So just around the corner. If you're looking to get your business set up and ahead of the game before the next uplift in demand comes, this is a great way to go and learn a whole lot in a couple of days. Connect with other members of the Master Builders community. Learn from everyone from the guest speakers that you will have. AI, yourself, Ankit, I'm sure you're presenting. Minister of Housing coming in to give insights. Yep. So look, you'll get so much value from being there for just a couple of days. And on a connected tangent, I was reading an article about really two organizations that were both doing very well. One paid close attention to the business fundamentals. The other business got very distracted by the growth and used cash poorly and didn't have good financial operations, etc. So again, this is a great time if you're maybe not overwhelmed with work right now. It's a great time to get the house in order, get some of those good business disciplines in place, so that when the demand comes, you're ready to make the most of it. Encourage the members. We of course have incredible training opportunities on the Elevate platform provided by Master Builders. So take a bit of time each week right now, get in there, do some of the courses, learn some more of these fundamentals of how to run a construction business, and really be able to make the most of the next growth cycle, not boom cycle. Ankit, hey, thank you so much. Let's get along to Constructive. Again, great work on the improvements that are coming in, encouraging multiple governments to make those changes. So some really positive news there. Closing thoughts from you, Ankit, before we wrap the show today?
Only, I think, just reiterate your point that we looked at our Constructive conference, and I wanted our members to walk away with some real tools, some good takeaways. So we've got 15 breakout sessions, which are planned for looking at both residential and commercial businesses. So there's some really exciting stuff. We've got some really exciting announcements to make at Constructive, where things we are doing to help our members take that journey. We did 8 Constructive summits. So in those summits, there were some sessions which I thought were just unbelievable. So we're bringing some of those sessions to our national conference. So I think it'll be a great conference. And if people haven't already registered, I encourage that they should register. It will be, I think, incredible 2 days of insights, connections, and forward momentum. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of our members in 2 weeks' time.
Fantastic, Ankit. Thank you. And a little tease. In our next Chief Chat, we'll be going even deeper on some of the AI capability and what it might mean for our sector. So stay tuned for that one. Ankit, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.